Welcome back to Cowabunga Corner. And in today's episode, we are talking about the Coming Out of the Shell store. This is an event that went across country back in 1990. Ended up actually lasting on the road through 1991. And it was made for kids. And it was a fun event. Anyone who went had fun. Yes, it's definitely made for children, but it still pulled everybody into it while you were there. They had a show, they had good music, they had really fun stuff going on stage. And I'd like to share the storyline of the Coming Out of the Shells tour, a little bit about my times of going, and there will be other blogs down the road as well to cover the different songs from the Coming Out of the Shells tour. The show starts off with the guys announcing that they put down their weapons and they're picking up instruments. They are now going to start playing music instead of fighting because they're tired of fighting. That's not what they got into this for. They didn't live their life going, I want to be a warrior. Nah, they want to have fun. Mike's always expressed that he wants to have fun. So when Splinter heard them into the music thing and he realized that they're getting into this, Splinter encouraged it. And so they went out and got the concert going. Into the show, we start to see signs of the Shredder going to make his appearance as Baxter Stockman and the Foot Soldiers start to show up, and then the Turtles freeze in time, and they don't know what's going on as we do, and we're all trying to warn them. It's this real fun little experience where the guys are relying on the audience for information. And then when Shredder does strike, Shredder wins the fight because he's got something, the harmonic convergent controller, which weakens the Turtles and also steals all the music from the world. So Shredder turns around and says he hates music. It would have been nice if he only said it. Because if you hate music, why sing? Shredder turns around and does a nice little dance and song about how he hates music and that the band's never rehearsed. Then we get the Turtles going to say, hey, we gotta get around this machine, we gotta save April. So they're going to save the world from having all the music sucked away. As they're working to do that, they find that they need to rely on the fans for help and that they gotta control their anger. This is a fun show all around. They end up taking out the Shredder, and voila, the kids are happy. The fans that show up are just really into it, and they play their main song as a goodbye. It's a lot of fun. It's very simple. It's not something where you got to think heavily about. It's not written for the fans of the Mirage comics. It's not written for the fans of the movies. It's written for the little children. So it's comparable to a lot more of the younger generation stuff. Not for the adult fans, but those adult fans that enjoy different things have come and saw the show and enjoyed it as well. I know a lot of adults that reminisce of their times of seeing the Coming Out of the Shells tour, and it isn't a bad experience. Now, those who saw it on VHS, they won't understand the feeling of actually going to the show. One of the things that you could get at the concert was the program. And this is the actual Coming Out of the Shells program, sold for $20 at the show. It lists all their appearance dates, where they're going to be, and then it's got a bunch of different pictures. Sadly, these are not the costumes we got for the actual concert. We got the costumes where their shells were removed, and they're wearing jackets instead. The actors in these costumes were having a very hard time doing the performance. And the reason being the shells were just too much. And during their rehearsals, they were passing out on stage. So they had to switch the costumes around with more air vents, which is why the heads are a bit more holy, and the lack of a shell so that the air could get into the costume and help cool the guys off. They have these hot beaming lights on them, out there dancing and acting along to the show. They needed a little break from all the heat, which is exactly what they got. Now, the VHS that was released is from their October 3rd pay-per-view showing of the concert. In this, we had Kip Reading, who was supposed to be a reporter from pay-per-view, who was doing extra skits. He was only at this performance, so a lot of people, when they see it, think, oh, wasn't he at the show when you went? No, he was not at any of the shows I went to see it. And It's still funny how the Turtles treat him during intermission, but a lot of the stuff from the actual pay-per-view was cut from this VHS. As we had a longer intermission, we had a lot more times where it was the kids screaming, "Turtles! Turtles! Turtles!" over and over and over again. It just seemed to be their main thing. Something else a lot of fans were able to get their hands on back in the day was the Ninja Turtle booklet and tape cassette from Pizza Hut. The booklet had this poster inside, and Pizza Hut had this cardboard stand up there, and when you got the tape cassette, it came with the booklet itself, which has a little comic strip inside the front cover. It's got the poster, as I mentioned. It's right there. And then it's got lyrics to the songs, which is actually different than the lyrics that came with the show, especially if you read Cowabunga's lyrics in here. There's a few different changes. And then there's the fan club information in there as well. This was a cute little booklet. It came with the tape cassette, and you could just only get it at Pizza Hut. So I went to Pizza Hut a lot back during that time. Now, the stand-up behind me was a speaking cardboard stand-up, and it would say, "Yo, dudes, dudettes, you're hanging out at Pizza Hut, the most excellent pizza place, awesome, and the only place you can get the groove of sounds of the gang of green. Cowabunga, dudes, 10 totally tubing tunes, let's rock and roll." My sound box was put into a safe spot so it would not be destroyed, so it is not with the cardboard stand-up, but the cardboard stand-up is usually on display in my room somewhere, kind of hidden amongst everything else in the wall. With the Turtles inside the show, Mike and Raph actually had their voices, usually wearing the costumes. So when they were interviewed by people like Oprah Winfrey, Mike and Raph sounded the same, and they spoke a lot more. They were also on a lot more shows, like Current Events put those two on it and left Leo and Don out. Mike and Raph also sang most of the songs. Leonardo's voice inside the show was done by his voice from the original cartoon. He was the only one with his original voice actor, Cam Clark. So anytime you hear Leo actually talk, which was only there in Oprah, you'd realize that's not the same Leonardo that's talking on stage. And Donatello also spoke during the Oprah show. Anything interview-wise of the Coming Out of Their Shells tour, I highly recommend watching the Oprah interview. It is a full show from Oprah with the 4 Turtles and April, and it is hilarious. Even the adult fans can enjoy this. Now, with the costumes, it's not the best costumes, but when you're there, you get into the show so much that you don't realize it. You're just pulled right in, like, oh wow, they're so in character, the songs are so much fun, it's enjoyable. Now, did you see the Coming Out of the Shells tour? Did you watch the tape, or did you go see it live? Did you see the full show that was unedited, that only lasted from New York to Chicago? Or did you see the cut down show that lasted after that till like July of 1991? Or did you see the show at Six Flags Great America where they cut it down even more so to make it to where they could do 2 shows a night? If you saw the Coming Out of Their Shells tour and want to do a review, please do. Connect it to this video, and I'd be very, very happy to share it with everyone else, because this is something where I enjoy hearing about other people's experience as well. The Coming Out of Their Shells tour was an excellent event that went across country for all the fans to enjoy, and I hope that many got to see it. If you haven't seen it, there is the VHS cassette out there, and who knows, maybe we'll be able to get someone somewhere to reenact the show again.